Today we'll be going over such topics as how industrial society came into fruition, the ways workers were treated in this society, the lack of police, the lack of sanitation, and the effects of the Industrial Revolution as a whole. I will note that some of the descriptions displayed will be gruesome and gory, so viewer discretion advised, I guess. There's that. And just wanted to thank you for listening and to enjoy the rest of the video. The initial Industrial Revolution we'll be talking about today started around the 1760s and ended around 1840s. This Industrial Revolution was when we had begun to move from a more agrarian society to an industrial-based society. Like most inventions and ideas around this time, it happened very rapidly, like within only 50 or so years. And when compared to many years prior, there was nowhere near the same amount of progress within such a short span of time. During this time, several inventions were created, such as the spinning jenny, the cotton gin, the steam engine, the assembly line, and the huge one that helped do so much is the railroads. These are just a few of the vast amount of inventions that were created. You might also be thinking, oh wow, that sure seems like a great time and made life easier for most people. No, no, you'd be wrong, for the most part. The main ones benefiting were the factory owners, since it allowed them to get their products to more places for far cheaper, which reduced cost for all of it. And they also reduced costs by using unpaid orphans. Free orphan labor. Yay! A prime example of something that happened with the orphans working in the factories is the story of Little Mary Richards, which goes by, and I quote, Little Mary Richards was caught up in a machine. 6 and 7-year-olds working alongside her witnessed the quote, bones of her arms, legs, thighs, etc. successively snap, her head appeared dashed to pieces, her blood thrown about like water from a twirled mop. Not so fun stuff. And keep in mind, they weren't even being paid to risk their lives like Little Mary Richards did. I mean, adults were in these factories as well, but are actually being paid and at least being treated a little better. Yet all of this caused huge population growth and urbanization, leading to more housing, leading to more suburban areas and urban areas. Obviously, this could be taken as a good thing, yet also a bad thing, because it allowed the factories to manipulate more people, yet allowed.
Quick little editor's note. I was supposed to add something here, and according to the script, I was supposed to say "and population growth," but I never did. So, yay.
Another thing that sparked from all of this urbanization and huge population growth was the want for literacy, which led to increased production of newspapers and newspaper outlets, such as maybe New York Times. Enough about factories. We're done with factories for a little bit. We're moving on. Let's talk about the situation in cities. Most cities had huge issues with things such as poor housing, there being literal crap in the streets, the police being very limited, and not many medical services that were available. This led to extreme amount of crime, poverty, and disease all over. Huge cities like London. London will be the main example we'll go over, specifically Whitechapel, London. Some of you might already know where this is going, but Whitechapel was your average neighborhood in a large city, dirty, overcrowded, very impoverished. Most people don't have jobs. The streets were typically dimly lit, since this was prior to electricity, allowing it to be perfect for crime. Due to these conditions allowing it to be perfect for crime and such, a newly pronounced and thought to be the first serial killer had arisen. His name was Jack the Ripper. He was never caught and got away with every single murder he committed, which is currently known to be 5, yet some speculate it's up to 11, with how many murders had happened around the same time. These murders were able to be easily executed since the streets were dimly lit and people just lived on them. Jack the Ripper did these murders often by killing the victim in some sort of way, whether it be choking them or slitting their throat as such. But a common theme throughout all of his victims was slitting the throat, and for 4 of the 5 of them, he had been able to disembowel part of them. whether that be their intestines, maybe something else. These murders would cause the press to grow concerned, yet also make lots of money off papers since, like I said before, people had become more literate, which allowed them to sell more. The police didn't really respond or try hard to find the culprit of these murders and just kind of let it go. Out of all the chaos, whether it be the mistreatment of workers, the cleanliness of the streets, terrible effort from the police to stop the murders of Jack the Ripper or just Jack the Ripper himself, all of these events led to the society as we know now because of the rapid developments societally, economically, and politically. With that being said, I would like to end this video with one last thing. The one thing I think caused the most change out of all of these events would have to modern day society would have to be the poor working conditions because it had laid the foundation for laws and supported many working standards today and created many jobs that all over the world. But what do I know? I'm just a high schooler who decided to do a video essay for a project. During this time, of course,